Hi everyone, hope you're having a great day. I thought it would be fun to take part in the Get to Know You tag, the adult coloring version, started by Amanda Colors. Let's get started. Full disclosure, I filmed this once before and it took me a whole hour and I thought that was way too long, so I'm going to try to get done with it quicker this time around and still be entertaining. I'm coloring in the New France coloring book by Coloric that it just came out, and I'm having a lot of fun. So let's get started. The first question is, where do you live? I live in the Central Valley of California, and I think it's a decent sized town, about 300,000 people, but we're right in the middle of agricultural, so it's really nice I can be in the country in like 2 minutes from where I live, so I kind of like that. The second question is, when did you start coloring? And like a lot of people, I colored as a kid, but just for fun, and that kind of carried over into adulthood where it was just for fun every once in a while. And I had, I think, one book by Johanna Basford, the Christmas one, because I just love Christmas, but I didn't have any good pencils or anything. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just like ink pens from the store, from a basic store, and the cheapest pencils you can imagine. But in 2018, I discovered Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. Just at a store. I wasn't looking for it, but I think it caught my eye, and so I bought it. And when I was reading her descriptions and things in the beginning, she mentioned the hashtag, and I was just intrigued by the fact that there was a hashtag and like people actually like post about this. So once I went on Instagram and had a look around, I was just amazed, and that was all it took, because I love the online community in different ways, different platforms and things, and the fact that I could have a hobby and that I could connect with other people just was really interesting to me. So I quickly, started doing the research on different pencils and things, and so that was 2018, and I thought I would never have or need more than a few books and one set of pencils, but as you all probably know, that doesn't last very long before you want all the pretty things that you see people posting about online. So 2018 is where I would consider my beginning with Ivy and the Inky Butterfly. The next question is, why did you start your YouTube channel? And I only started it. I wasn't going to do anything with it except upload one video, which I will, comes up more in a later question, but I started it just to house that one video. It had to do with coloring, and I never thought I would do anything else with it. But I also have been involved in some other online communities live streaming that I just loved, and some of those platforms have kind of gone away, and so I miss that interaction with live streaming. And so it was just at the middle to end of last year, 2022, that I considered maybe doing more things here on it, and I'm still kind of figuring out what to do and what I have time for and what I like to do. I'd like to do more live streams and host people, and because I love to chat while we color, and I like the interactive live version of it. But anyway, I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing here, but that's why I started it. The next question is, other than coloring, what do you like to do in your free time? Well, to be honest, coloring takes up most of the free time that I have, but the other things that I do kind of like, that if I wasn't coloring I would be doing more of, is reading. I love to read, but to be honest, I am a little more addicted to coloring lately. But and I like to garden. I don't do it super well, but I can keep some things alive for a little while, and this is kind of hard to blend right now. So I like to bake things, sugary things that my husband doesn't necessarily like to eat, so I try not to do it too often, or else I would eat it all. But so yeah, I love to bake things, I love to read, I like to garden, and I like to, I'm learning French, and so I like to study. I do that a little bit every day. I think that, other than coloring, which I also do every day, practicing my French is the only other thing I can say I do every day. What do I do for work? I do a combination of things. I'm a graphic designer, so for different clients, I do all their designing whatever they might need, whether it's graphics for online or printed pieces or other collateral for conferences or anything. Just creating all of the graphics and the products that they might need. So that's a lot of fun. I can say I can color kind of for a job, even though it's with a computer and not with my coloring tools. But the other part of the job is also copy editing, proofreading. I train administrative assistants at my main job on that sort of thing, the grammar, the punctuation, the spelling, and how to catch mistakes and maintain quality control, that sort of thing. Just quality control in messages and in advertising and all of that. So it's a variety of things. So I have a lot of fun with that. What are 3 random facts about you? That was tricky to come up with, but I guess I would say my 2 favorite things, they're kind of contradictory, but I love Disneyland. My family loves Disneyland. And I love the ocean. And we love Disneyland because it's just so, it's fun, it's creative, it's imagination, and it transports us to another world, and it's just never a dull moment. And I love the ocean for the opposite reason, because it's so, it just makes me take a breath and appreciate how big and beautiful the world is and the part we have in it. And I could sit and listen to the waves all day. So those are 2 things I love. I know that's one random fact, but I think the 2 things that are my favorite are total opposite of each other. The second thing is random fact about me is I'm a Francophile. I like French culture. I like studying it and learning about it, and learning to speak their language. And so that is the second fact. The third fact, I don't know, it's kind of weird. I was running out of, I don't know what to say, but I guess I would say I'm short. I'm just over 5 feet tall, and I really like being short. I can fit in lots of places that other people can't, and I can buy clothes and shoes from the girls department and save some money. Although sometimes it's kind of tricky to find good clothes that don't look like little girls' clothes. But those are 3 random facts about me. My favorite coloring book right now, that's a hard one, because I usually tend to not stick in one book very long, and I color according to what my mood is. And so I guess I would answer that question by saying, if I wasn't coloring this page right now, and I'm coloring it because Color It sent it to me, and I am just fascinated with it. So maybe I can say this one is my favorite one right now. But if I wasn't coloring this one, because it's spring and spring is coming out in our region, I would probably want to color something springy. And my go-to books for spring type things are usually like Clara Markova or the Menuet de Bonheur, which has lots of, and I'm going to experiment with this cobblestone here. I don't know what I'm doing, but that has a lot of cute spring scenes with the animals. So, but I really don't have one favorite. But Clara Markova books I turn to a lot because they have things throughout the season. So when I'm in the mood for something seasonal, I know that she can deliver in her books. I usually like, cute things like that and faces that aren't too big. So, yeah. So the next question is, what is your favorite coloring medium right now? And I think that will always be the same. It's pencils. I think I will stick with pencils for a lot of different reasons, but the main ones are because I have committed to not overdoing the supplies. I know myself, and I love all the colors and all the paints and all the pens and that's for sure, all the everything. See, I shouldn't color and talk at the same time, but so it's a budget thing, but it's also and a self-control thing, but it's also coloring with pencils makes me slow down, and that's part of what I like this hobby for, is it's relaxing and not being worried about how fast I can get a page done or what multiple types of medium I'm going to use. Pencils keep it simple, and I'm all about simple. And so yeah, pencils I think will always be my favorite medium. I'd like to maybe experiment a little bit with watercolor, but the problem is I hate actually the way watercolors makes paper warp. I hate the way it sounds. I don't like the way it looks. So I will be limited on what supplies I will commit to buying to practice with that. But so pencils will always be my favorite medium. How many coloring books have you completed? I have completed one coloring book. Oh, sorry, I bumped the camera. I've only completed one, but I'm very proud about that one. And I will talk more about it in a later question, because otherwise I will talk too long. But I have completed The World of Flowers by Johanna Basford. So that is the one I have completed. I am on track to finish Rita Berman's Europa book, because it played into a big vacation adventure that I took last year, which will also come up in another answer to another question. So I'm about just a little over halfway done with that right now. And I'm thinking this will turn out what I'm doing right now, but it looks like a big mess right now. I'm just kind of going to try to give the idea, just the hint of cobblestones without getting too fancy. But so that is the coloring book completion. The answer is 1. Do I have any secret skills? And I have to say I don't. I don't think so. I can whistle decently well, but that's not really, I don't know. That's not really, I don't know if this is going to work, but by the end, maybe not by the end of this video, but by the end of this page, I will have made this work. But that's okay, because it's an experiment. So I have to say no secret skills that I can think of. Do I collect anything? Probably too many things, and that's why I know myself, and that's why I committed to in this hobby to not be about all the things, because all the pens and stickles and watercolors and all of those things, because I know myself and I would love them all. But I tend to collect things for a while and then have to stop because I run out of space and things. So collect a little Christmas village, the light up houses. I have a small collection of that, and I have Disney pins and the Disney Happy Meal toys. We have a whole set of those. So I collect a lot of seashells when we go to the ocean. I could be a really obsessive collector, so I'd have to limit myself. But I do have 8 sets of pencils, but they're done now, so I can't say I collect them. And I have a decent amount of coloring books, but not the hundreds like lots of people have. So I don't know that I even necessarily consider myself a collector of coloring supplies. So lots of things and no current things, I guess, is the best answer for that. Okay, the greatest accomplishment in life so far. Well, that is a two-pronged answer, because I feel like the two greatest accomplishments that I feel like I have made, I didn't really do alone, so I can't take full credit, but I have been married, and this June will be 35 years, and I think that is a big accomplishment. But it wasn't just my accomplishment. So, and I also have 2 grown sons of whom I'm very proud. I like them as human beings, and I'm just enjoying them so much, being their own people. So that is definitely also an accomplishment. But again, I didn't do that on my own. So the biggest one that I can say is my own accomplishment is I accomplished a bucket list item last year and spent a month in France. And the accomplishment, well, just that it was a month in France, but the accomplishment I feel is because I did it by myself. I planned it by myself. I traveled by myself, and I didn't go to meet anyone. My husband was having his own bucket list adventure with a group of friends for a month, so I took all of my year's vacation at the same time and traveled and had an apartment there. And so I don't know if that really counts to say I lived there, but I'm counting it since I had an apartment for a month. But that was definitely a bucket list accomplishment for me that I will remember forever. So the next question, what's my favorite childhood memory? It's not one memory, but it's a series of memories. I mean, it's the same, but it is when it was holiday days, like mostly Thanksgiving and Christmas, I think. I used to love waking up in the morning, and I wasn't an early riser, but and I don't remember how old I first noticed it. But on those mornings, Thanksgiving and Christmas, my mom would have been awake for a long time before I woke up, cooking. Because there's lots of special dishes that you make, and the turkey's got to get in the oven early. So at some point, I made note of this, that I would open my bedroom door and I could see down the hallway towards the door that opened onto the kitchen. And I just remember seeing this light coming out of that door that didn't come out any other time of year. And I think it's because the kitchen was so warm already, because she had been cooking for so long. And so you know how the heat gets a little shimmery, and just it smelled good, and you just knew that the kitchen was full of goodness and the day was going to be full of good things. So that became a thing that I anticipated every year when I woke up, is waking up and opening that door and seeing that light come out of the kitchen. So that is my favorite childhood memory, is that light. I mean, I had a great childhood, so it was full of lots of good things, but that was the thing that I remember the most, with the most positive emotion around it. What are you passionate about? And that was a tricky one to answer too, because when I think of somebody being passionate, I think of just very emotionally expressive and huge, just very emotional and just, I don't know. And I'm not my personality is just not a huge, I don't have a lot of huge swings and emotions, and I'm pretty low key. But I will say, I think that the thing that I would say is the most important in the world and the most important in life is, so that I guess it's what I'm most passionate about, is that every person in the world, I wish that they would know in their heart that hope and that joy that only comes from Jesus. And I know that can be a controversial statement. But I would say, if you've had any experiences or know any people for whom the mention of that name or the following of him does not bring up good, positive thoughts and emotions, that maybe you've experienced someone who is not following him fully, or maybe not at all, and just saying they are, because there's really nothing like it. And I know that he is the only lasting source of hope and joy and peace that can be found. So in my own quiet, reserved way, I think that is what I am most passionate about. So yeah, if you ever want to talk more about that, let me know. But I'm not going to force it on anyone, but it is something remarkable. So what is something that always makes you smile? Well, I'm a pretty positive person, so lots of things make me smile, but adorable puppies and babies and beautiful flowers and walking in quiet nature that you can just breathe and soak in your surroundings. And his leg has got to be in here somewhere, or is at the ground. I'm gonna wait so I can figure that out later. But just beautiful surroundings make me smile, and France makes me smile. Most of it. I have found some amazing places there, and not even just the big touristy places. But so yeah, lots of things make me smile. A really good chocolate dessert, a really awesome movie. Lots of things make me smile. Spending time with my family and friends, all of those things. 3 coloring books that are on your wish list. Okay. It's interesting because when I filmed this, like I said the other day, the same thing, I could only think of one because really I'm not a big collector. I don't need all the sets of every artist just because. So there really isn't any that I don't have that I wish I had. So the only thing I could really come up with was maybe Johanna Basford's next one, the Small Victories one, because I think that I like all of her things. I don't have all of her books, but the ones I have I really like, and I like the idea of the Small Victories. So I'm looking forward to that one. I haven't pre-ordered it, but I will soon, I'm sure. But then I was watching more of these same Get to Know Me coloring version videos in the last couple days, and I can't, oh sorry, I bumped my camera again. I don't remember now who talked about it, but oh gosh, I'm gonna have to go find it because now I'm drawing a blank on the name and I didn't write it down. It was the Around the World or To the Ends of the World and Back Again or something, but it was one that folded out horizontally and it was really like one long piece of paper. That was fascinating. I had never seen that before, so that's definitely on my list, and I might be hitting the purchase button on that, that Amazon buy button pretty soon. But so I would say those are the only 2 that I can name that are on my wish list at the moment. But I always like things from Klara Markova and some beautiful, I don't know, Christmas ones, but I can't think of any. So those were the 2 I think would be on my list. My favorite random fact. I didn't have one for the other day, and I don't really have one today either. I don't. I usually have lots of useless facts in my brain, but I'm drawing a blank on anything that's worthy of sharing here. What coloring book do you wish existed? There's not too many, and not even specifically a kind of book, but the 2 things that I could think of were, I wish some of the artists that I already like Johanna Basford and Klara Markova, and I'm thinking, I don't even, even Kirby, would have some books that have thicker, heavier, like watercolor paper, because I would love to try some watercolors on their pages, but like I said before, I hate the way it warps, and so I will never do it. So I guess, and I'd also I would like them to have some spiral bound ones, because like this one is so handy. And I have cut a couple of my Johanna books. The latest one, the Rooms of Wonder. I trimmed the binding off and had those spiral bound, and it's great. But I wish there was some more heavier paper, because I would like to experiment with some watercolors more. But then the other thing is, I wish there were some books that were made with paper similar to like the Strathmore tan and gray, but I have a pad of the Strathmore tan, and so I have printed some of the the downloads that I have purchased and used that paper, but it's so scratchy, and I can't seem to figure out how to color on it. So if you have any tips on how to color on that paper, or if there's another paper that's similar, because I love the way, especially the whites and the lighter colors just pop off that paper, but it's so rough and so textured that I can't. I think the only pencils that I've remotely thought were decent when I do it is my erosion tins, because they're so hard and they stand up to that paper and don't smush and bleh. But so let me know if you have any tips on how to color on the Strathmore paper, or paper that's colored like that but not so textured. I would love to hear more about that, so comment below if you know of any of those things. I just realized that I told you at one point I was going to tell you something else about the coloring book that I have finished, and I skipped over the question where I was going to tell you more, so I'm going to go back a little bit to where the greatest accomplishment is. One of the I guess I don't know, I didn't make a plan, but the coloring book that I finished, like I said, was The World of Flowers, and I feel like that is a great accomplishment, not only because it was a big book and it took a long time to finish, but I wrote a story for it that I'm very proud of, that I, inked into the book before I started coloring it. And then once I finished, it's like a finished storybook that my goal was to be able to read it to my grandchildren one day. So that for me, because I'm not a writer, I've never done anything like that before, but that was a big accomplishment. So, and this is partly the answer to another question. Gosh, I skipped over that. The reason I started my YouTube channel was to house the video for that story that I wrote for Johanna's World of Flowers. So if you would like to see it, you go back. It's the first video I've ever uploaded on this channel from a couple of years ago, and I'd love it if you watched it. So sorry about that skipping around, because I really didn't forget to conclude that if I didn't write it down. The challenge that I have faced and overcome, I'm not really sure how to answer, what to say about that. When I did this video the other day, I did share a health related one, but it happened when I was little, so I don't know if it really counts as I overcame it. So I guess I haven't been able to think of another one. So I was diagnosed when I was 3 with a version of, it was called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which is, I have been told that if I had it today, at that same age, they wouldn't have diagnosed it the same. But I don't remember a lot of it, but I did have a lot of physical therapy after surgery because, from it, that, from something that was related to it. And when I was an adult, my mom told me that she was convinced I would have been in a wheelchair my whole life and not able to, raise kids or have a regular job or anything. But I did all those things, and I raised my kids on my own, and she evidently didn't think that I was going to be able to do that. But so looking back, I can say I guess that's an accomplishment, but I don't know how much of that is mine, because I wasn't aware of those challenges necessarily at the time, but my parents were, and worked really hard to not let me get stuck in it. So I don't know, I feel like that's kind of the cheating of that answer, but that's the only thing I can think of. I did have a melanoma surgery in December that I'm getting over that, and luckily it wasn't advanced enough that I needed to have chemo or anything like some people do, but I don't know that was really something I overcame either. That was just luck, I guess, that I caught it early enough. I don't know. The strangest food combination that I enjoy is also hard to answer, because I'm kind of a picky eater, and I don't eat many strange things. I like to be adventurous, but my definition of adventurous is not very adventurous probably to most people. But the only 2 things I can think of, actually I had thought of one when I made the last video, and I don't know if it's strange. It seems totally normal to me, but every once in a while I'll eat it, and somebody will say, "What are you doing?" But growing up, whenever we had soup or anything and we had crackers, just the regular little square saltines, we always put butter on it at my house. So here's a little visual aid. See, it's just a cracker, butter, regular. It didn't seem that weird to me. It's like, well, how else would you eat crackers? But like my husband had never seen anyone do that before when we, like the first time I made soup at our house, and that's happened a few times over the years. So I don't know if that counts, but that is a strange food combination. And this next thing isn't really a combination, but when I was getting ready for the video, I realized one thing I do that my husband thinks is so strange is I drink hot water in the winter, just plain water, you know, because I have a strong sweet tooth and I would eat sugar all day, and I don't like coffee because it's just yucky. So in the winter when I'm cold and I wanted something hot to drink, I would drink, you know, especially at work when I'm sitting at my desk, I would drink 4 or 5 cups of hot chocolate every day. And that's not healthy. So and I don't really like tea. It's okay, but I just, you know, our water here is good. It's nice and sweet, so I just heat it up, and yeah, and my husband thinks, he just gives me funny looks every time I do it. So those two are the strangest things that I could come up with. So let me know, do you put butter on crackers like that, or is that strange? Because it really doesn't seem that strange to me. But I'm happy to say that I answered these questions in half the time this time around. So this is the video version that I will post. And yeah, this hashtag is open to everyone who wants to share. So it's been really interesting hearing different people's answers to these questions. So I'd encourage you, if you haven't done it yet, to do your own version and tag me in it too, so I can see it. But yeah, have a great day, and I promise by the time I post this page, I'll have fixed this non-existent cobblestone. But I'll see you around, everyone. Thanks. Have a great day.